Oh, welcome, Cecilia McDowall. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us ahead of the premiere of your new piece for solo organ, First Flight, which Stephen Farr is going to play later this evening. Perhaps you could just give us a little bit of an insight into the piece, tell us a little bit about it and how it came about.
Well, of course, yes. The commission was from Rebecca Davey and the Ministry of Bruton Parish Church in Virginia, Colonial Williamsburg. And the commission was in 2019. And I suggested that because it was the year of the moon landings, the 50th anniversary, and it was also the 500th anniversary of Da Vinci's death, that it might have quite a lot to do with flight. It was also a new organ had been installed in Bruton Parish. And so in a way, I thought First Flight was perhaps the most appropriate thing for all of them. And also I found a wonderful quote, I'm going to see if I can read it, which is a Da Vinci quote, in which he says, "The human bird shall take flight, filling the world with amazement, all writings with his fame." And of course, in a way, it's prophetic, how he envisaged flight, the helicopter, gliding. And so all this tied up in terms of what the kind of programmatic idea was behind it all.
Are you often seen to have a sort of connection with a work of art or an artist, or, you know, a very personal connection in your pieces? So I saw you'd written the Da Vinci Requiem, and various other pieces have been linked to either a particular piece of art or a particular artist. Is that how you sort of begin the process? Is that what inspires you?
Well, I mean, so many, and there are so many different things. Each work has got a different beginning. I suppose I am really drawn to something historical, artistic. And I suppose also at the back of my mind, I always have this feeling that if there's something I find absolutely fascinating and interesting, if it is something that I can discover more about, and by doing it, introduce it to the listener in some way, then I feel it's an interesting way of sharing information. I always love it when I go to a play or read a book or article, whatever it happens to be. If I'm finding out something new, I'm making new discoveries. Yes. I just feel, you know, always there's no stopping what one can find out.
No, quite, never stop learning. So if as a listener, if people aren't particularly familiar with your music, or even just new music in general, is there a sort of narrative to this piece, or how is the piece structured? What sort of things might we listen out for?
Well, I suppose, I mean, without being too basic about it, I suppose actually the opening is rather like a liftoff itself, sort of the kind of growling, grumbling start perhaps to a rocket firing off. And then there are also passages of, I suppose, lightness, flight, maybe. So in a way, I prefer to leave it to the listener. Having given the title and the inspiration of the piece, then perhaps it's best just to leave it to the listener, and they can decide what they feel from it. I mean, it does end on a very clear D major. I don't usually end that clearly on things, but I feel it was a moment of landing, a moment of triumph. So in this particular work, it does have a clear end.
Yes, and I think probably at this particular time, it's fantastic to have such a positive finish as well. I think we could do with a bit of positivity in the world, really. So yeah. How did Stephen Farr come to be playing the premiere for you?
Well,
how did that come?
I have been in touch with Stephen before. He's lovely. I remember when I was writing one piece in particular, I think it may have been Church Bells Beyond the Stars. I came to see him when he was at St Paul's, Knightsbridge, and he was terrific because he helped me so much. I'm not an organist. I'm a keyboard player, but I'm not an organist. And so I greatly value that kind of experience. suggestions of colour, suggestions of registration, and he was superb. What the way I think this happened was that there was now the young sub-organist of St Paul's Cathedral, William Fox, asked me if he could record my organ pieces, and he has made a recording which is now on the Naxos label of my whole organ catalogue. And so I posted something on Facebook to say it hasn't had a premiere yet. This is but the CD is out, and Stephen was lovely because he did say, would it be possible to give the premiere, the virtual premiere of it, which is just terrific. But I was a bit anxious about this because, of course, Rebecca Davey at Bruton Parish Church had commissioned a piece, and it's crucial that you know, she knows that she knew about the situation.
Yes.
She was extremely generous and has given you know, her blessing for this.
That's
So,
really wonderful.
It's very kind. I really appreciate that. So it's lovely that Stephen is giving the virtual premiere. It's lovely that Rebecca Davis has said yes to this. It also ties up with the fact that next week, I think it's April the 29th, OUP publish the copy, so it will be in print then. So Rebecca Davey will give the American premiere when she can, because of course at the moment nobody can do anything.
Yes.
And because it's in print, I suppose we can't say whether it's going to be the world live premiere. So I suppose it depends who buys a copy and wraps it and does that. So so that's a situation with it.
But the great thing is, it's being performed tonight live from All Saints Margaret Street, and will be premiered in the States at a later stage, which is really exciting, isn't it? So what is it about the organ that excites you as a composer? I mean, it must be an incredible instrument to write for. There's such a range of colours. And
I love writing for the organ. I mean, it is a strange situation because, as I said earlier, I'm not an organist, but I love the colour you can get from it. And I mean, in a way, it's rather like writing for the orchestra on 3 staves. So there's so much texture, dynamic colouring. I don't know, just love it. Great instrument.
Thank you so much for coming to speak to us, and I can't wait to hear your piece tonight. It's very exciting. So thank you very much for your time.
It's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to it. Thank
you.
And
enjoy your birthday when it comes too.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.